sister's a therapist and I tell jokes. We both want to help all kinds of folks.
Hello, and welcome to My Sister's a Therapist. My name is Virginia Jones. I'm a stand-up comedian, but my sister's a therapist.
Hello, I'm Laura Ryan. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and I'm Virginia's sister.
And as we were talking about this morning, also a trauma therapist.
Yes, I have a lot of specialty in trauma work.
And EMDR and hypnosis. So
EMDR, hypnosis, I'm about to be NET certified. I'm an Imago therapist. I'm also NLP certified. Any of the letters, I got them all. Got all the letters.
My qualifications are, I am almost completely non-famous. I have been doing stand-up for 17 years.
You're 20% famous.
20% famous. I have 20,000 TikTok followers.
Nice.
And I've done a bunch of stuff. So those are my qualifications.
Not to brag, but as of yesterday, I had 91 TikTok followers. So
shit, son. Whoa. I'm sorry. I did not know who I was fucking with.
Eat my dust.
So on today's show, I would like to play my favorite game that I play with you, and it is called Irresponsible Diagnoses.
Great.
So, and I'm going to reiterate, nobody can be diagnosed outside of a therapeutic relationship with a mental health professional.
Correct.
But
or
these aren't
also a doctor. A doctor can,
or a doctor can diagnose you.
Yeah.
But this list, we're not doing real people.
No.
We are doing fictional characters from film and television. And it came to mind because I did a show last week at The Crow at Bergamot Station, which is a fantastic community-based comedy club run by my friend Nicole Blaine. But it was a storytelling show that I was telling a very disturbing story that a woman had told me. And after the show, a woman in the audience said, you know, the lady in that story who was telling you this stuff may have had a mental problem. And I said, yes. And she said, I'm a therapist. So that's the thing that stood out to me. And we discussed briefly something that I have only learned in the last couple of years that Laura has known, I'm sure, for a long time, is that sometimes when people do something that doesn't make sense to you, like when you're having this feeling of like, why would they do this?
Right.
Or why would they say this? Many times there's just a diagnosis and you don't even have to worry about what it is.
It's just waiting in the wings.
It's just waiting in the wings.
Well, according to a phone conversation that I eavesdropped on with my mother, she says that I am constantly diagnosing everyone I meet.
Our mother is a very emotionally generous and forgiving person who is great to be related to.
Yes.
So I prepared a list, and I thought we would work through it and talk about what's wrong with these fictional characters. Now, a film that Laura and I have seen a million times and just watched at Christmas is Trading Places.
Shout out to the TP fans of the world.
This might not be as common to everyone else, but so in Trading Places, the main characters are the Duke brothers, who are kind of like kingmakers, moving around these other characters. We've got Winthorpe and Billy Ray Valentine, and I also did Clarence Peaks. So Duke brothers, clearly sociopaths. What do you think?
Absolutely. Yeah, the two of them are a pair of sociopaths. It's pretty cut and dry. There's not, so this is how I've arrived at that conclusion. They've decided to take a man who they've basically kind of raised from childhood and totally destroy his life for sport.
For fun, right.
Right. They're horribly racist. Mm-hmm. And they're also working with, it's a very kind of old-timey racist, like perspective where you're thinking, oh, well, can Black people be successful?
Right. Yeah,
so it's a eugenics kind of plot line.
Kind
Right.
of is. So yeah, they're wealthy and powerful, and they have no problem with destroying people's lives for fun.
Shout out Don Amici and Ralph Bellamy.
They were amazing.
They were.
Now Winthorpe, the person whose life they destroy, when I put this into ChatGPT, it said dependent personality disorder.
Huh. Well, okay. So here's what I can tell you about Lewis Winthorpe, played by Dan Aykroyd.
Shout out to young hot Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah, like 100. Like he is. I realized that as an adult, I was like, oh, okay. My whole like dream man started with this man. It all started here. This is where it began. This is where it began. So, because I think so. Jenny didn't say this, but like Virginia didn't say this. We watched this movie 10,000 times as kids because our dad would do this fun thing where he would spend all of our money on cable and he would get all the premium channels. He would do all the stuff. And then I guess he would run into financial issues and he would just turn everything off. And so we just had basic TV and our VHS tapes. And this was one of them. So basically this was a year-round classic at the Ryan house. We watched it winter, spring, summer, and fall.
Well, and also we discussed in the previous episode about if all comedians have mental disorders. Our father was self-medicating with comedy. So when he found a movie that would elevate his mood, he would just watch it constantly.
Right. That's true. So yeah, I'm going to say Dan Aykroyd, very immature. I mean, maybe dependent personality. He didn't have a lot of internal robustness.
Right. Self-awareness. Yeah. He has difficulty to make decisions independently. Excessive need for the support of others is how.
Okay, so let's look at the full. So, dependent personality disorder is a disorder characterized by enduring pattern of an extreme need to be taken care of, with a fear of separation that leads to, maybe so, I can see that, individual to seek out and submit to another person and allow that person to make decisions that impact all areas of his life. And I guess, before he had, so initially he leaned really heavily. I mean, I think it's also sexism, but that's not, that's not a diagnosable disorder. But I think when he was, in his original state of play, he was relying on Penelope Witherspoon to sort of determine what his social life was going to look like, what his future was going to look like. And, of course, as many men do, he jumped immediately into the arms of Ophelia, played by Jamie Lee Curtis. And, she took over. She took over all of his... She became his Penelope. She became the person who was responsible for him. So, okay, I guess in that way I can see it.
And also, what attracts me about this diagnosis is when he's in trouble, he really kind of like he's living with Ophelia and he's like, I'm going to get a plan. I'm going to do something. But he's really kind of frozen. He doesn't know what to do.
Well, and I think it's also because he doesn't have parents, right?
Yeah.
I think he lost his parents at a pretty young age. So he didn't really develop that sort of, I think you have intestinal fortitude when your parents give you a strong sense of self. And I did not experience Lewis Winthorpe as having a strong sense of self.
Now, when we talked about Billy Ray Valentine, I said, well, trauma, strong trauma background.
Yes.
But the ChatGPT came up with histrionic personality disorder.
No, I don't buy that.
You think?
No.
Because of his antics, the antics part.
Sure, but like that would make him a cluster B, and I don't. Oh, I'm not getting cluster B vibes.
Right, and at the end of the film, he doesn't exhibit that behavior at all. He has grown a lot as a person, as has Winthorpe.
Right, and if he was a cluster B, that wouldn't be happening.
It just never ends. Okay. And then the fourth person I did is Clarence Beeks, who is not.
He's just a run-of-the-mill sociopath.
Yes. I got antisocial personality disorder and just sociopath. He doesn't care. He's just doing stuff for money. And like a lot of people who are hitmen or spies, he just doesn't care about other people. It's just his personal gain.
Yes. Clarence Beeks, played by the amazing Paul Gleason.
Yeah.
Also in Breakfast Club.
A show that we have both watched, and I've watched a lot, is The Good Place. And we were talking about...
Define watching it a lot. You mean you watched all episodes of it, or you watched it multiple times?
I mean, I've watched it multiple times.
Okay.
There was something, I don't know if you remember this, but it was called The Lockdown.
No, I don't remember that. Was that a church thing?
So, like you kids, like you stay overnight and then you read Bible stories? No.
Yes. No.
During lockdown, I watched The Good Place 3 times.
Okay. All right.
So I've seen it a lot.
Yes.
And I really like it.
Okay.
So we were talking about the main character, Eleanor Shellstrop.
Played by Kirsten Bell.
Lovely Kirsten Bell. Do you think she has narcissistic traits, or do you think she is full-blown NPD?
So she's a tricky one too, because there's a lot of sociopathy also, because she does things without consideration of others. Like even the whole grocery cart situation in which she died, it was because of, why don't you saw it 3 times. Yeah. How did she die?
She died how she lived, being an asshole. She had yelled at everybody in her path, wasn't paying attention, and was hit by a truck while buying margarita mix. So,
but wasn't she shoving somebody with her car? I feel like there was something happening in the parking lot. No,
she was. There was an environmental volunteer approaching her. And
yes.
She, in her desire to get away from him and push him out of the way, she met her end.
See, there we go.
One of my favorite things about The Good Place, we were talking about how in usual sitcoms, in the usual trope, if there's a woman in the sitcom, the ending will be a wedding. Like right. The end of 30 Rock is Liz Lemon gets married.
Right.
Which even as feminist and kind of like future leaning as
I don't even remember her getting married. That's how pointless it was to me.
Right. But like in all television shows, the end has been a woman gets married, and then that's the happy ending. The end of The Good Place is Eleanor Shellstrop resolves her personality or disorders,
right?
Resolves her ethics and morality, and achieves nirvana, which is a lot deeper.
So here are the criteria for narcissistic personality disorder: a grandiose sense of self-importance. I mean, I guess I would give her a check on that. A preoccupation with fantasies of unlimited success, power, brilliance, beauty, or love. I don't see that.
No.
A belief that she is special and unique. I don't see that. A need for excessive admiration. I don't see that. A sense of entitlement. Okay, so a sense of entitlement, interpersonally exploitative behavior, a lack of empathy, and envy of others, or a belief that others are envious of her. So she's got I would say she's got 4, but you need 5 to meet criteria.
Okay, so right on that edge. Right, and and she comes from a place that we've known people in life. She has had such a hard time. Her family of origin was so troubled,
right,
that she feels entitled to complete selfishness. She thinks this is how the world works, and I'm just going to go get mine.
And she's not entirely wrong to give her, credit, but yeah. I think she did have alcoholism. That's a diagnosis. Yeah. So she had alcoholism. I think she was depressed. I would say she probably had major depressive disorder, because I think that's where that flatness and just not care for anybody, including herself. Like she didn't have any self-respect. So I'm going to say major depressive disorder, alcoholism, and some features of narcissism and sociopathy.
So let's flip to the other main female character, Tahani Al-Jamil.
Favorite.
She
played by the wonderful Jamila Jamil.
So imposter syndrome, I would say, like rich, beautiful, it's still not good enough for her. She's
Right.
never happy. She looks like a narcissist.
Yeah.
But like all the exterior stuff, like talking about herself constantly and constantly one-upping other people.
Well, she meets criteria. She definitely does 5 of those things.
But it comes from a low self-worth.
That is every narcissist, though. That's how narcissists are made.
Okay.
Yeah, narcissism comes from a sense that, so like the way I explain it to people in my office is like, if you have narcissistic personality disorder, essentially what your spirit or your soul, your sense of self is, it's like one of those Russian eggs with no center, those kind of very, very fragile, and it's wrapped in like moving blankets. So you're kind of building this false sense of self because you don't feel good about who you are. And that's why it's so easy to throw people with NPD off, to get them into weird places because their self is so fragile. There's so very little to it.
So, you're talking about like the folk painted Russian eggs, not the Fabergé eggs.
Yeah, Fabergé. They're empty.
Oh, Fabergé eggs. Okay.
Yeah, because I like Fabergé eggs. I don't care how it's painted, but I do like Fabergé eggs, and that's why I use it in my analogy.
So, a pretty straightforward one. Jason Mendoza, I think, just flat ADHD,
and also I think he has a weed problem.
Sure.
He also, let's be fair, he also probably is kind of MR. Like I think he has an IQ below 70, so he probably meets criteria for that as well.
That makes me sad. And then the other main male character, Chidi Anagonye, we were talking about decision-based anxiety.
Well, he has generalized anxiety disorder.
Yeah. And then OCD probably. Do you think?
And definitely OCD because he has the perfectionism, and that's one of the, that's kind of OCD. A word
that I got on the internet today that I didn't know is moral scrupulosity.
Okay.
And that this is a type of OCD very concerned with ethics and doing the right thing.
Yeah.
So he's a very special OCD person. He's not opening and closing a door 20 times.
No.
But he will ruminate and he will find it very hard to make decisions.
I think, that's what's fun about OCD is it shows up in so many different ways and places. Like I remember I had a client and I said, well, you have OCD. And he said, no, my shower is disgusting. Like my house is super dirty. And I said, no, that's not how it's presenting. Right.
It doesn't mean that. Right.
It doesn't just mean that. It can mean that, but it just basically means being super, super compulsive about a behavior. You failed to mention Derek, played by Jason Mantzoukas, my boyfriend. My boyfriend at large.
Yeah.
What do you think his diagnosis is?
So because Derek is not a person, like
how
that's
dare
what
you?
Derek, because Derek, Michael, and Janet, none of them are people.
How dare you?
They don't
they're people to me, especially Derek.
Derek is not the perfect man, but
he has a penis that's made of chimes, right?
Made of chimes. But Jason Mantzoukas, he may be in comedy. He may be the perfect man. Okay,
he could be.
So the next one to talk about, I didn't watch this show. I've seen clips of it, but I have met the creator in person, and she's great. So I feel like I'm an expert in it. So it's Crazy Ex-Girlfriend,
Rachel Bloom.
Starring creator Rachel Bloom, her character name is Rebecca Bunch. Get it? Because it's a lot like
I was wondering about that. I was like, what's the connection? Okay, I see. All right. They both start with an R and then it's Bloom or Bunch.
And I will say I was real resistant to the show because I don't like it when women characters are called crazy. I don't like it.
Right.
But in this case, there may be something to it. So what is your diagnosis of Rebecca Bunch?
So this was also a show that I watched a second time during the pandemonium because it's so damn good. Okay. Rebecca Bunch, Rachel Bloom. it was really, it was one of those moments where I was like, you know what? I am a good therapist, because they never officially say what her diagnosis is. But in episode 2, I was like, oh, this chick has borderline personality disorder. Uh, just because of her relationship style. So, have we talked about borderline in the podcast yet?
We haven't yet. We're gonna.
Okay. So Rebecca Bunch, the story of the show is that Rebecca Bunch is going, I think she might also have bipolar. I think they actually mentioned that at some point, because she's in a depressive episode. Basically, she's really, really depressed. She's living in New York, and she runs into Josh Chan, who is the romantic lead in the show, played by the wonderful Vincent Rodriguez, who I follow on TikTok, if anyone's wondering. I also follow Rachel Bloom, because she's awesome. But anyway, so he was her camp sweetheart. So when they went to summer camp one time when she was 14, they crushed on each other, and I think maybe made out or something. And so anyway, she runs into him on the street, and she decides, in a very borderline personality disorder / bipolar way, to take her entire life and move to West Covina, California. So she gets obsessed, because she says, West Covina, that's the life. Like, this is where life will be good.
Everything's going to be great.
Everything's going to be great. And so she moves, and she pretends that she doesn't love Josh Chan. She just pretends that she really wanted that West Covina lifestyle.
Coincidence, yeah. And I, as an Angelino, and someone who has friends who live in West Covina, it's a S-hole.
It's pretty clear as you're watching the show that the West Covina really isn't that good, and that she's just making this up to justify her decision to completely uproot her life for a man who is actually at the time had a girlfriend.
Right.
So,
a very serious connection at best. So yeah, she's depressed, she's anxious, and she's borderline out the wazoo. And it is funny, because like, it's the kind of thing that is presented as romantic, right? In film and television. I'm going to give up everything for you.
Well, I think that's the whole point. I think that's why she chose this, sort of, because it's a story, and that's what you're looking at. You're like, oh, she's just quirky. Right. She's just fun loving and energized. And then as the show kind of unfolds, you see a lot of really, really dark decisions that she makes, and super questionable things that she does in the pursuit of this man. And it becomes pretty evident that there's something absolutely seriously wrong with this woman. So here are the criteria for a borderline personality disorder, and I'll tell you which ones the character Rebecca Bunch meets. Chronic feelings of emptiness, absolutely. Check. Emotional instability in reaction to day-to-day events. So there's just this, she's just constantly cycling, right? Intense episodic sadness, irritability, or anxiety, usually lasting a few hours and rarely more than a few days. So it's this kind of very quick cycle. So if, for example,
it's not like depression, it's just
it happens
powering back up.
Powering down, powering up, but it'll be like within 48 hours. It's really quick. Frantic, so this is the biggest one that she meets. Frantic efforts to avoid real or imagined abandonment. Identity disturbance. So this is another piece. She's always trying to redefine herself. She's trying to become this different person at all times, so that Josh will like her. So she has identity disturbance with markedly or persistently unstable self-image or sense of self, impulsive behavior in at least 2 areas that are potentially self-damaging, e.g. spending. So she does that. She spends insane amounts of money. She basically loses all of her money from spending in order to do things that Josh will like and be impressed by. Sex, she has random sex with lots of people in this show. Substance abuse, reckless driving. She does all of these. Binge eating, inappropriate, intense anger or difficulty controlling anger. So yes, she blows up a lot. A pattern of unstable and intense interpersonal relationships where it's characterized by idealization. So you put the person up on a pedestal and then immediately devaluation. It's also known as splitting, where people are either good or bad. and she does this constantly on the show. Recurrent suicidal behavior, gestures, threats, or self-harming behavior. She also does this. Transient stress-related paranoid ideation or severe dissociative symptoms. In the final season, she starts dissociating on an airplane and hallucinating this choir joining.
Okay.
It's freaking amazing. Like, I know I'm making this show sound really dark, and it is really dark, but it's also hilarious. And it's a musical. They sing constantly. So here are some of the other characters. So Josh Chan, he has codependency. I don't know if he has a diagnosis of any kind. He also has kind of a low IQ. No offense to Vincent Rodriguez. Daryl Whitefeather is her boss. He is extremely codependent, extremely enmeshed. He desperately wants her to like him at all times. Paula Proctor is her best friend, also wildly codependent. Mm-hmm. Most of these people are codeps. Let's see. Valencia Perez, she is played by Gabrielle Ruiz, and she is Josh Chan's fiance. She has narcissistic personality disorder. Greg Serrano, the other love interest on the show, major depressive disorder, alcoholism. Nathaniel Plimpton, played by Scott Michael Foster, narcissistic personality disorder. But yeah, it's a hell of a ride. It's a roller coaster of emotion, punctuated by lots of incredible musical numbers. They actually did the last episode on stage in a theater. Like, amazing. It was so good.
Okay, I looked up what ChatGPT thought about a particular group of characters. Now I would like to talk about Star Wars.
Okay.
What do you think about this? Han Solo, ADHD, but also oppositional defiant disorder, ODD.
Yeah, absolutely.
So hyperactive, impulsive, but also a pattern of negative, hostile, and defiant behavior.
Right.
Well, arguing with adults.
He also, he had a lot of narcissistic traits as well.
Yeah. Yeah. But he didn't have a close friend who was that dog.
He's not a dog. He was a full he was a full person. He could speak. He had communication skills. And I think it's kind of mean to call him a dog.
Okay.
Okay. DSM-V criteria. Let's see if this works better than the last one. So, does Han Solo meet criteria for ODD, oppositional defiant disorder? Often loses temper. Check. Often touchy and easily annoyed. Check. Often angry and resentful. Check. Yeah. Often argues with authority figures.
Constantly.
Often actively refusing or defying to comply with requests from authority figures. Often deliberately annoys others. He does this with Chewie, who is not a dog, on a very regular basis. Often blames others for his mistakes. Absolutely, he does that. Yeah. He does that all the time. As a child, was spiteful or vindictive at least twice within the past 6 months. He's not a child, but he probably was spiteful or vindictive as well. I'm going to go ahead and go a ding, ding, ding. Yes.
Ding, ding, ding on ODD. Okay.
For Han Solo, for old Han.
Luke Skywalker. And I think that's our childhood, is like, your childhood is thinking like Luke Skywalker is hot, and then your adulthood is finding Han Solo hot.
Well, let's unpack that for a second. I think you find Han Solo hot if your dad is an autistic man with narcissism, because
I don't know who you're talking about now.
If you go back to Imago, the idea is that our love interest is based on the positive and negative characteristics of our parents. And yeah, I think dad had a lot of Han Solo energy, if that's a term.
Big Han energy.
Big Han energy.
So let me bounce this off of you. Luke Skywalker, obviously PTSD, the death of his parents, the destruction of Alderaan, anxious attachment disorder, grandiose delusional disorder. Because it's got to be false beliefs that the person is superior, has extraordinary talents or abilities or a special relationship with an important person or deity.
But
he kind of does.
He does have those things, and I don't experience him as being grandiose. I think because he just wants to fit in. He just wants a gang to hang around with. He wants acceptance. I find him to be very needy and anxiously attached, and kind of have self-esteem issues, and probably CPTSD because everybody in his village was murdered. And he spent most of his life trying to avenge his father's death.
Now, his best friend, Yoda, has a diagnosis according to ChatGPT.
How does Yoda get a diagnosis? I think you have to be human to get a diagnosis. What's Chewie's diagnosis? Apparently, he's a dog.
Being a dog. Yoda has surface dyslexia.
Because of the way he
characterized.
You know what? I've always wondered, is it dyslexia? When we were talking, is that why Yoda talks like that? I thought it was because
you never meet anybody
some
else
kind of a weird spiritual person.
Right. It's not like you if you met other Yodas, they would all talk that way.
We don't know that. How many Yodas have you met? I've met 0.
Dig this. Now, this is not a psychological diagnosis, but I got Williams syndrome.
Okay.
A rare genetic disorder characterized by intellectual disability, verbal tendencies, and an elfin appearance. Yoda's small stature, so he could be a human.
He's not a human. He has green skin. And he's 1,000 years old.
How dare you?
He's not. Okay, I'm going to just say, on the basis that he is not a human, we're not allowed to diagnose him because the DSM is based on humans only.
Okay. Yoda may also have autistic spectrum disorder.
Probably. Why not? Who doesn't at this point?
Who doesn't? Okay. Darth Vader.
Oh, yeah. Well, he was a human. He's a human, so we can diagnose
he's a human
him
inside his robot suit. Yeah. We've got obviously PTSD.
Yeah.
A lot of bad guys have that. Borderline. Has difficulty managing his emotions. Has a difficult time maintaining stable relationships and a sense of self-identity. So he becomes a whole other person.
Yeah, I guess I feel like because of the sociopathy, that kind of knocks out the borderline. Because, my experience of people with borderline are, that they're extremely concerned with other people's emotions and extremely concerned about other people's perceptions. And old Darth, he's not giving that. He's kind of tooting he's running to the tune of his own drum. He doesn't really seem to give two shits about what other people think.
He does have trouble with his temper, though.
He definitely has anger problems. If you talk about the guy who's getting choked across the room, we know that Darth is not a happy camper. We're going to say major depressive disorder, probably. He's not a happy guy. He's not a happy guy.
He seems down ever since his face came off and he had to put that.
Well, ever since everybody he loved died and his face got burned off and he lost his twins and everything else. I mean, he's suffered for sure.
He's been through a lot.
He's been through it.
And we don't talk about that enough.
No, we sure don't. We don't think about what about Darth's feelings? What about his history?
So, Laura, we've had a lot of fun. There's still a lot of these that I want to go through, so we're going to do 2 episodes. But for now, what are your final thoughts on the diagnoses of fictional characters?
I would say it's a lot of fun because no one can sue me.
Unsuable.
Yeah, Rebecca Bunch cannot call me. She cannot call me.
She's not real.
She's not real. She's a figment of Rachel Bloom's imagination. But yeah, what I would say is that humans are super interesting and complex, and they do make for very interesting fictional characters. Also, if you're Yoda or you're Chewie, you cannot be diagnosed because you are not a person. So Virginia, what are your final thoughts?
My final thoughts are that all creativity comes from something. So I think the reason that a lot of these characters fall into these buckets is that they are based on either a person or a combination of people that the writer knows.
Right.
That's why we see ourselves reflected in film and television. We see people we know, and like as the great band Depeche Mode once said, people are people,
and Yodas are humanoids.
Yodas are humanoids.
So Virginia, if we wanted to reach out, to you, how could anyone check in on your comedy lifestyle stuff?
If you're interested in my comedy lifestyle and stuff, you can look at my website, which is www.badinia.com, and my TikTok is Badinia. Laura, where can people find you as a therapist?
You can find me as a therapist at lauraryan.org. You can also find me on social medias at I am Laura Ryan on TikTok. Hey, Virginia, do you know where people can find us, the podcast, on the interwebs?
I sure can tell you that. So you can find us at mysistersatherapist.com, and you can write us at hello@mysistersatherapist.com. So if you have a question, query, if you know what Yoda is,
if you can tell us who Yoda is, please reach out. Also, recently I recorded myself reading aloud one of my listener letters. So you can appear on my TikTok, which I think, as we previously stated, now has, I think, 91 followers. So get a little famous.
Everybody can suck it. Thanks, everybody.
Have a great one.
Bye.
Bye.